This is a revision presentation on the difference between comparative and absolute advantage. Let's start with some key definitions. We define absolute advantage as when a country can produce a good or service for fewer resources, so that's at a lower cost, than another country. So if a country requires less input to produce a good or service, it has absolute advantage in producing that good or service. Comparative advantage is when a country can produce a good or service at a lower opportunity cost than another country. So the key difference between absolute and comparative advantage is that comparative advantage is concerned with opportunity costs, while absolute advantage is concerned with the costs themselves. One of the things that you need to do that's listed on the specification is be able to illustrate the difference between comparative and absolute advantage using a simple numerical example. And I think the easiest way to do so would be a table like this one. We have two countries, we have Kenya and New Zealand, and we have two different goods they're producing, milk and bombs. What the numbers in the table then represent, so this 1,000 tells you that in Kenya they need 1,000 workers in order to produce 1 unit of milk, while they need just 100 workers to produce a unit of bombs. So if we first consider who has absolute advantage in each good, well, in producing milk, Kenya only needs 1,000 workers, while New Zealand needs 1,200 workers. So it's quite straightforward to see there that Kenya has absolute advantage in producing milk. It needs fewer resources in order to produce the good. In the case of bombs, Kenya only needs 100 workers, New Zealand needs 900. So again, Kenya has absolute advantage in producing bombs. Kenya has absolute advantage in producing both of the goods that we're looking at here. If we want to think about comparative advantage, we need to compare the opportunity costs. So we need to work those out first of all. The opportunity cost of Kenya producing a unit of milk, well, the 1,000 workers that it takes them to produce milk could have produced 10 bombs, because it would have been 100 workers needed for each bomb. 1,000 workers would mean they could have produced 10 bombs. So they've given up 10 bombs by choosing to produce a unit of milk. At the same time, the 100 workers that go towards producing a bomb could have produced a tenth of a milk, or 0.1 milks, because you would need 10 lots of the 100 in order to get up to the 1,000 workers that you need to produce a unit of milk. So you've given up producing 0.1 milks by producing a bomb. Same principle with New Zealand. The opportunity cost of producing milk, where you could have made 4/3 of a bomb with those 1,200 workers, 900 workers to make the first bomb, and then 300 left over to make another third of a bomb would take you to 4/3 of a bomb. To get to that figure, all we've done is divided 1,200 by 900. And so then the opportunity cost of producing a bomb for New Zealand, well, those 900 workers could have made 3/4 of a milk. So they've given up 3/4 of a milk. And again, we've got to that number by taking our 900 workers and then dividing that by the 1,200 workers needing for milk. And now it's easy to see who has comparative advantage. The country with the lower opportunity cost in producing bombs, well, that's New Zealand. They've only had to give up 4/3 of a bomb, while if Kenya produces milk, they've given up 10 bombs. If we look in terms of in bombs, well, here Kenya has given up 0.1 milks, New Zealand's had to give up 3/4 or 0.75 milks, and so the comparative advantage lies with Kenya. So you notice here, just because a country has absolute advantage in producing a good does not mean it has comparative advantage in producing a good. And you can use this table and the calculations to clearly illustrate the difference between the two.